Alright, hi everybody. I am back with another One Piece video. We are going to be ranking the first half of Paradise here. This is the next installment of the tier ranking videos I'm doing for all of the One Piece arcs. Last time we did the East Blue Saga of One Piece, and now we're moving into the Grand Line. Moving into the Grand Line is by way of Reverse Mountain. So starting there, the crew has now left Log Town and they have to enter the Grand Line. Nami tells the crew that they have to go up Reverse Mountain. She does show them a map, and it kind of shows the calm belt also. That in the anime, I believe in the manga also, they do kind of go into the calm belt a little bit. They encounter a whole bunch of sea kings, which is very common for that area. It's a giant sea king's nest. We learn more about the calm belt later, but it is said that trying to cross through that part of the sea, the ocean, is just impossible. 99% of people go through Reverse Mountain if they are trying to get into the Grand Line, which our crew does. They go and sail up the mountain, actually, literally up the mountain. The mountain has these really cool like archways that kind of go over it and stuff. It gives it a really cool kind of like old world vibe. Once they get up to the top, they actually go and fall back down the other side, and as they do so, they encounter the giant island whale, Laboon. Luffy actually goes and breaks the damn mast off and shoves it in his head, and it's a whole thing. It's hilarious. But Laboon is there. He was left behind by a crew 50 years ago. We learn more about this crew in a later arc, eventually meeting one of their members, and he becomes very relevant to the story, just put it at that. Taking care of Laboon here is Crocus. Crocus is a doctor. We learn more about him also. He was a member of a pirate crew in the past. He not a pirate anymore. He is retired, but he sheds some light on how the Grand Line itself actually works. He gives Nami the log pose and explains how all the islands in the Grand Line are magnetically charged. They do not follow a normal compass. It just spins and spins and spins. Like there's no way to use a regular compass. You have to use these log poses. And whenever you go to a certain island, it will kind of learn and charge that magnetic charge of the island into the log pose itself, and then each island is different. Sometimes it's a couple hours, days, years, months, but eventually once it is fully charged, you can go to another island or wherever the log pose is pointing next. Crocus kind of gives a little bit of a diagram. It kind of shows up that there are a number of different paths throughout Paradise, but eventually they all lead at one point at the end to the Sabaody Archipelago, which we will get to in a much, much later arc. But Crocus is here taking care of Laboon because Laboon is constantly ramming his head on the red line. We learned that this is a thing that all island whales do. They go and just ram their heads into this. We actually find this out when the crew is moving into the new world, I believe. So that's a little bit extra information. But right here, I think we thought that he was trying to get back to his crew. But no, it's kind of a thing with all island whales. And it has spurred some interesting theories on the red line and what it exactly is and all this stuff. But Crocus is here taking care of Laboon. He has to give him all these like giant shots from the inside. We actually go inside of Laboon. Crocus has a damn house sitting in like a lake. It's the craziest thing. But while we are inside of Laboon, we happen to meet two more characters from the Baroque Works agency. This is Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday. Miss Wednesday, we learn, is actually Nefeltari Vivi of the Alabasta Kingdom. She is very important in these coming up arcs. But she's introduced here, and they say that they are here trying to get meat. They're wanting to take a Laboon and, like, I think kill him or take some of his meat back to their home island or hometown of Whiskey Peak. I think it's actually like Cactus Island or something like that. But we meet them here, and then that kind of goes into the next arc. But Reverse Mountain itself, it gives some really good backstory and lore. It introduces Crocus, introduces Laboon, who is great. Kind of tells us about the Grand Line, how it works with the log pose. It sets up. It's kind of a setting up arc, to be honest. I'm gonna put it in B tier. It's good. Not anything to super write home about. This is where I guess Vivi is technically introduced. But this next arc is where she is actually shown to be Nefeltari Vivi of Alabasta. We, moving on to Whiskey Peak, the crew actually goes, and as they are trying to enter, they get awarded with this whole party and everything. They get drunk as hell, and most of them just pass out. It turns out this whole island is littered with bounty hunters, these Baroque work agents, apparently. We learn more about Baroque works as the following arcs continue, eventually leading up to Alabasta and Crocodile. But staying here on Whiskey Peak right now, you have the great scene of Zoro cutting down, what is it, 100 bounty hunters, and it's just crazy. The whole fight with the bigger lady, I think that's Miss Mother's Day, I believe. Yeah, Miss Mother's Day, and that whole fight, and eventually him actually fighting Luffy because Luffy wakes up and he sees that Zoro has cut down all his evil. He's like, "Why would you fight them? They gave us food. How dare you?" It's great. That little kind of, it doesn't go anywhere, but it's kind of the first time that Luffy and Zoro like fight, so that's great to see. Power scaling back then and that point of the story was crazy between the two of them. It goes on. We eventually meet Mr. Five and Miss Valentine. These are two more Baroque work agents who have appeared here on the island. Mr. Five, I think, has a really cool devil fruit. It's honestly a little bit underrated. I feel like if it was given to another character later on, a little bit stronger character, one was a little more relevant, it could have been great. But he has the bomb fruit. He can like breathe explosive bullets. He picks his nose and just like throws it and it explodes. I think it's cool. I think it could really be utilized in a lot of different ways that what he wasn't able to show in the story. Miss Valentine, his partner, she has the Kilo no Mi, which lets her kind of change the body weight of herself. She's able to get like a really light or really heavy. She had kind of the basic thing she does is turn herself like 1 or 2, like I guess 0.5 kilos or something, like super light, like a feather, floats up on this little parasail that she has, and then gets really heavy and like dive bombs and slams into people. That's kind of her thing. Whiskey Peak kind of finalizes in learning who Vivi is, that she has infiltrated Baroque works to try to save her kingdom. We learn about Mr. Zero, I believe. We don't know that it's Crocodile yet. It might be mentioned that is a warlord. I don't think it's mentioned that it's Crocodile yet. we learn what Vivi's all about, and she kind of doesn't join the crew here, but she begins to travel with them. They fake her death, and they begin traveling to Alabasta. Whiskey Peak is another good arc. It's, like I said, is kind of honestly held up, I feel like, by the whole Zoro cutting down 100 bounty hunters. That's probably the best part of the arc. I'm gonna put it in C tier. It's really just got kind of like that one moment. Personally, everything else just kind of falls by the wayside. But moving on, we have Little Garden. Now, Little Garden is where the giants are introduced, Dory and Broggy. Now, here in some more recent arcs, or the most recent arc, we learn a lot more about them and the giants. But here in Little Garden, this is where they're introduced. We learn about their 100-year duel, I believe it is. And they have been going at it every single day. It's tied, I believe. And when the crew gets there, it is just a crazy jungle island. And this is actually where Sanji and Zoro's rivalry kind of starts and begins. It comes from a hunting competition, actually. The same way that Dory and Broggy has had their 100-year fights. It was originally a hunting competition. Zoro and Sanji go and try to, or they successfully kill some dinosaurs on the island, and they have a big old kind of fight about which one is bigger or longer, because they're trying to kill the biggest thing, get the most meat. Guy brain. We learned that on the island is more Baroque Works agents. We have Mr. 3 and his partner, Miss Golden Week. She has a really cool ability with her colors trap paint. It's some people have said it's a devil fruit. It was never said it was a devil fruit. There are some weird abilities in the story that aren't devil fruits. I guess kind of like Django, she can like hypnotize people. She paints on them and then changes how they interact with things, changes their personality. It is literally crazy. I feel like it works better on probably kind of like, how to say this nicely, low IQ people. It worked really well on Luffy, case in point. But getting a little ahead of ourselves. Dory and Broggy are here having this fight. The crew interacts with them. There's the whole thing with the exploding ale, and Dory and Broggy get mad, and they think it was the Straw Hats because they're the one that brought it to them, but it was really the Baroque Works. It's a whole thing. Kind of culminating in the fight with Dory and Broggy and Mr. 3 and the whole kind of wax super like 3-tiered cake. You have Zoro there doing the pose about like trying to cut off his ankles, and it gets really dire there for a bit, honestly. But Usopp kind of comes in clutch here with his flaming star, and Luffy is able to get out of the colors trap that has kind of been hindering him throughout this fight, and they are able to defeat Mr. 3 and Miss Golden Week, and are able to get away from the island successfully. One thing that I really like about this is the smallest thing kind of leads into the next arc, which is Drum Island, and that's Nami getting bitten by the Kestia bug. It is the smallest little scene in the anime. They honestly kind of liven it up more in the anime. It's kind of like smacks herself a little bit. In the manga, it's like one panel, straight up. But her getting bitten by this bug leads into Drum Island, which we'll get to. But ranking Little Garden, I love Little Garden. It introduces the giants. It shows Mr. 3 and his wax powers. As we're moving through the Grand Line, we start introducing more devil fruits, so that's always great, trying to kind of flesh out this power system that Oda has developed. But to rank Little Garden, I think I'm going to put Little Garden 8 here. I really like it. I love Dorian Bragi. The whole ending when they go to leave with the Hakaku sovereignty and they just blast a hole through the giant goldfish. It's great. I love Little Garden. So moving on to Drum Island, this is where Chopper is introduced, and we meet Dr. Kureha. We have the whole interaction with Wapple, and we meet Dalton. Drum Island's great. The crew kind of gets there as the complete opposite reaction to how Whiskey Peak did them. They actually get shot at. Vivi gets shot, I believe. That happens. And Dalton ends up taking them in and kind of tends to her a little bit. They learn that there is a doctor on top of the Rocky Mountains, the Drum Rockies, that's what they're called. They learned that there is a doctor on top of there. So Luffy, and honestly one of the most amazing acts of Nakama and just friendship and just determination, goes and climbs the Drum Rockies. I think they said it is fucking crazy. It's like 1,000 kilometers or something. I don't know. I'm probably way off there. 5,000 kilometers. Who knows? It's super tall, and he gets up there literally climbing. His nails are bleeding, holding Sanji. It's great. He eventually gets up there. This is where he will meet Chopper and Dr. Kureha, and he's able to save Nami's life. The whole bit with Chopper being extra food is introduced here, and we eventually get to meet Wapple. Well, we kind of already met Wapple, but Wapple comes back, and we have the whole fight on top of the Drum Rockies at the castle, and Luffy fights Wapple. You have the whole thing with Chess and Marimo. And it just kind of goes from there, and the scene with him holding Hirluck's flag. Chopper's backstory is amazing. Honestly, it's sad. It's so sad. He tries to save his mentor, gives him a deadly mushroom. You have the whole thing with Hirluck saying that a man or a person doesn't die until they're forgotten. That sits with me. Like, that is honestly one of the quotes that I just love from this story. One Piece has a lot of just great quotes, and I think that is honestly one of them. It's amazing. I really love Drum Island. It's great. In the previous episode of this, I had said that S tier is kind of left for only one arc. And so I can't quite put it there, but it's definitely going at the top of A tier. Definitely. Chopper's great. We learn more about Vivi and kind of flesh out more kind of why she's doing this for her country and all this kind of stuff. It's a great arc. And moving on to the actual culmination of the Alabasta saga, which we have kind of been in so far, with the Alabasta arc itself. So, Alabasta. This is where we introduce Crocodile and learn all about Baroque works. This is Luffy fighting Crocodile. This is the whole crew fighting the rest of Baroque works, traveling to Alabarna. You learn about the revolutionaries. You learn about Bon Clay. Oh, I love Bon Clay. Bon Clay is great. This whole arc, honestly, I can't explain everything here. You could do a whole video in and of itself on just Alabasta, like a whole hour, 2 hour thing on Alabasta just by itself. So I can't talk about all of it here. It's going in A tier. I just want to go ahead and get that out of the way. It's good. It is the culmination of this kind of first saga of Paradise of the Grand Line, and it is a warlord with crocodile. It kind of shows how the world government kind of lets these warlords do whatever they want a little bit. It's kind of a loosey-goosey way, and how they're able to kind of like use it for their own means. It's a super awful system, honestly. They use it to their advantage, and the world government, I don't want to say they don't care, but it's not very checked, let's just say that. You have the whole thing with Bon Clay pretending to be King Cobra and inciting this revolution. The whole ending with the bomb and Pell going up and the will of P, as the community likes to say. He should have died, honestly. He should have died. But Alabasta is great. Ace is here. We learn about him. I think this is where Ace is actually introduced. He fights Smoker here. Smoker is reintroduced. We have of him and Tashigi. She comes back. You have the whole thing in Rain Dinners with Sanji and the Mr. Prince moment inside of Rain Dinners when they get caught. The whole thing with the Banana Gators and Crocodiles there acting like a super suave Bond villain. It's amazing. There is that one little scene in the cages where Mr. 3 Galdino is floating there, and he shouldn't be. Oda kind of fixes it later in SBS, where it's saying he's on a really floaty piece of wood. It's really funny, actually. But those type of things where Oda is able to kind of, every author makes mistakes, and this is one of the reasons why Oda is one of the best. He's able to use those and not just like, oh, I messed up, or just be like, oh, sorry, here's like an explanation or whatever. He's able to kind of give something and then use it back into the story and something else, which super floaty wood comes up when the crew is trying to get back up from Fishman Island. It's crazy how Oda is able to kind of bring stuff back together like that. But Alabasta is in the A tier. I don't think anything else needs to be said about it. It's a great kind of culmination for this first saga of the Grand Line. After Alabasta, the crew has left Vivi behind. She stays there. You have the whole iconic scene with the X's on the arcs, talking about their friendship, signifying that, and it's a great scene. Moving from there, they kind of travel for a few days, I believe, and they actually have a ship fall out of the sky. Can you believe it? The crew kind of goes and salvages it a little bit to learn some things. They found out this ship was called the Saint Brice, or Saint Bliss. R's and L's in Japanese can kind of be a little interchangeable. But they go down there and find some interesting things, but eventually they get to the island of Jaya, which is this next arc, the Jaya arc. This is where Blackbeard is introduced. Blackbeard, along with Bellamy and his crew, at the in between Alabasta and in between Alabasta and Jaya here, there was a kind of a short scene you got to cut to the world government. I believe this is where the Gorosei are kind of introduced, and you see some of the other warlords. You see Kuma, Bartholomew Kuma, and you see Don Quixote do Flamingo. I believe it is referenced that Bellamy and his crew are connected to them. It shows they're Jolly Roger, and I think we know at this point they have some kind of connection. But Bellamy's here, the hyena, I believe the laughing hyena or something like that. He has his whole fight with Luffy, where Luffy just decks him. The dude goes and springs about the whole thing, and Luffy just punches him out. It's great. You have the whole thing with Cricket and searching for the lost city of gold, Shandora. He believes it has fallen into the ocean. His, ancestor, Noland the Liar, as he is now known due to a children's storybook. This is another thing, Oda putting little tidbits and stuff. It's great. He's one of the best when it comes to foreshadowing and kind of leading, putting little nuggets of stuff throughout the story. Sanji here, Noland, this book about Noland is at Cricket's place, I believe. And Sanji mentions that it was a popular story in the North Blue where he grew up, I believe. I think he says that here. And so it's just mentioned here. It does not come up again for another, 500 chapters or something? It's crazy. Cricket here, searching for this lost city of gold. His ancestor Nolan was said to be a liar who found this. I believe this is where we have the backstory with Nolan and the Shandorans and everything. That is a great story, how he tries to save the villagers, and they ended up hating him because of the trees and all that stuff, and eventually they get shot up into the sky, actually, we learned, due to the knock-up stream. That's moving into Skypiea a little bit, though. Raiding Jaya itself, like I said, this is where Blackbeard's introduced. You have the whole thing with him and Luffy eating the pie and the juice. One of them loves the juice, one of them hates the pie, and vice versa, and it shows how they're similar but different, and it's great. You have the great scene in the manga. It's really cool how he does it, actually. Oda, it's just a complete white blank page, and just there, sitting there, is Blackbeard and then Luffy on the other side, and Blackbeard saying, "This is the age where dreams never die." And it's just great. One of the other just amazing quotes of One Piece. Love it. I'm gonna put Jaya in B. It is another setup arc. Sets up this next one we're going into, Skypiea. It kind of sets up some other things further down, but it is mainly setting up Skypiea. And as you can probably tell, it's the last one and it hasn't been filled yet. This is the S tier. That might be a little controversial. I know a lot of people like Alabasta, but Skypiea for me is the S tier in this grouping. It is amazing. Inaru is introduced here. You have the whole thing with the priests and going through like the games of that. You have the inhabitants of Angel Island, the Skypieans. You are introduced to Gonfall and his horse. It's Pierre, who happened to eat the so he is a horse who ate a bird fruit, I believe. I don't remember which one, but he's a horse with wings. He is not a Pegasus. It's hilarious, but Gonfall used to be the god of Skypiea, of Angel Island, but he got kicked out by Inaru, who is the wielder of the Goro Goro no Mi, the Rumble Rumble fruit. He is the new kind of dictator of Skypiea, as you could call it. He actually wants to nuke the whole place, straight up. He is hellbent. His desire is to go find the Fairy of Earth. He is creating this thing called the Maxim, which he has learned about for some way. I don't really know how he learned to create the Maxim, but using his Goro Goro powers, his lightning powers, he is creating this ship to find the Fairy of Earth, which we learn is the moon. The crew goes and to the God's land, where they fight Inaru and his priests. You have the whole thing with the Shandorans there. We learned the backstory between them and Noland and them getting shot up. Like I said, I think that actually might be here, not in Jaya. Like I said, even giving more credence to why Skypiea is S tier. The whole fight with Inaru introducing mantra or observation hockey. Here, it's great. It's super kind of low key because it's not said to be that. It's said to be something else. But the way they're able to use it and how Inaru uses it specifically in conjunction with his Goro Goro no Mi is amazing. I believe it said he can cover like all of Skypiea with his observation hockey. It's wild. The whole ending there with the golden belfry and Luffy being up in the clouds so Cricket can see him and kind of showing him that the island is not lost in the ocean but is instead up in the clouds. It's great. Kind of giving the credence back to Noland a bit, and everyone was clowning Luffy back in Jaya, saying how he wanted to get that Sky Islands don't exist, and now here he is up in the sky. It's just amazing. It just kind of shows kind of the child kid wonder throughout the story, like, we've been here on the ocean and now we go up into the sky. This just kind of shows Oda's world building, and I think that's why I like it the most. It's not a normal island. It is made up of island cloud. It's explained that there is like a certain chemical or molecule that comes from Karyoseki, the sea island, or a sea stone. Whenever it like gets up into the air, kind of in like the water cycle, it creates this different chemical, and it kind of mixes with stuff and creates these island clouds up in the white sea is where this exists. There are other island clouds. Skypiea is one of them. Bricka used to be one. That is where Inaru is from. He torched the place. It is gone. But Skypiea, this is where Robin is kind of really introduced you guys. I didn't even mention Robin in Alabasta. There's so much there, but Robin is kind of really fleshed out a little bit more here in Skypiea. She has her big fight with not a main priest, a lower priest, but I really like it how she's able to kind of like spin him around and uses weight and everything. It's a great fight. You have Chopper and Gadatsu. Dude's hilarious. This is where the Mary and the spirit of the Mary is introduced. I love that whole scene with Chopper and seeing them and everything. Well, what's going on here? Oh, whoops. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what happened there. But as I said, it's S tier. Yeah, I don't really think I need to go into more detail than that. I'm going to leave it there. Try not to ramble too much. That will complete ranking the first half of Paradise. We will be back next time with the second half. Moving on, finishing up with this. Well, so we're going to be leaving Skypiea would be Long Ring Longland, then Water 7, Enos Lobby, post Enos Lobby, Thriller Bark, Sabaody, Amazon Lily, Impel Down, and Marineford. That's 9. That might be too many to do in one video. So maybe let's do Long Green Longland, Water 7, Ennis Lobby, Post Ennis Lobby, and Thriller Bark. Let's stop at Thriller Bark because Saba Odie kind of leads into the rest of those. So we'll do those 5 for the next video. Alright, I will get going, I guess, and be talking to y'all next time, ranking the next 5 arcs of One Piece.